Hello, 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 everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder of Pat Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. How is everyone doing this morning? Ooh, looks like I have to make a little green screen adjustment with this shirt, so we shall see. But that's just something that's my. Ooh, there we. Well, I guess this shirt doesn't work so well either. Oh well, that's how it's gonna have to be. Good morning, Davy. Hey ho, waka waka. Hope all doing well. Me too. A little tired tonight. Major storms here last night, and the one rescue dog that's terrified of the thunder. I only got about 2 hours of sleep, so he was up shaking all night. Uh, Good morning, Patrick. Everything is ugly. Housing starts, big miss. Philly Fed, that's, I think, even more important. Huge miss. Uh, and everything's behind the curve. You also had the Bank of England raise rates. You had Swissy raise 50 basis points. So that was big, but their still rate is negative 25 basis points. But that is a big shock. There's a major double top in the Swissy. And keep in mind, they also guided that they have like 177 billion of U.S. assets on their books, and they could uh, begin to sell them, which would get really interesting. So it's gonna be interesting. Good morning, Dr. Michael. Yeah, the Swiss Central Bank is a derailment. Good morning, options 22. Hey, T. A. Lauren. Good morning, Ken. Let's retest lows. I'm ready. Inflation's still high. We are retesting the lows. Yeah, they could only go 25. They had a couple people vote for 50, but they could only go 25. I mean, come on. And what they said, what are their inflation expectations? Like 11%? If I was looking at stuff behind, and you know what? That means everything's in trouble. Should we go into crash mode? Should we just go into crash mode? Good morning, Amit. And ECB still asleep at the wheel with the Bank of Japan, and the peg was starting to hurt again. Good morning, Wavy. Sell, sell, sell again, I guess. Good morning, Sashi. 75 basis point party. Let's go. All right. So we talked about, let me just say, by the way, real quick, if you're new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like button. And that's all I got to say. Uh, let's see who else is here. I'm not going to waste. Uh, I'll bring the puts. Someone locate a few Tesla shares to short. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Christoph. Oh, Lauren with the woot woot. Okay, so we had building permits down 7%. Housing starts down 14.4%. That is pretty big. Slight miss in unemployment, but nothing major. But the big thing, Philly Fed in contraction. Business conditions, this is the lowest since 2008. Remember, this is about a 6-month look ahead. This is the lowest print since 2008. Keep that in mind. New orders, that's a pretty big drop. Prices paid improved slightly, but with new orders, and then you still had prices paid up there. Not good. So, by the way, remember July 27th is the next rate, and it's still being priced in at another 75 basis points. So keep an eye on that. Also, remember, still negative gamma, and we have a big options expiration tomorrow. Quad witching. Remember, 3,700 is major. 3,700 on a decline. So I'm going to really be watching that level, very key, and on a rally 3,800. So those are the two key major areas. But if 3,700 breaks, it could get really, really interesting. And right now, S&P trading 37.13. So this is where it gets interesting. Updated levels, by the way, we talked about that little mini double, and I said it gets more. Oh shoot, I did not. Hold on. I did not mean to do that. Where's my bot? There we go. Little mini double. This does not invalidate it, even though it's ugly. Now we actually have higher probability. Remember, I drew that best fit line. We broke below it overnight. I said I wanted to see how Europe did. Here's Europe coming online. and constant selling. So what am I paying attention to? Really pretty much the 1 hour rotation zone, this little spike low, this 37.25 area, which was already tested a little bit ago and rejected once. We can start getting above there. I'm focused on the major breakdown zone and about the 1 hour rotation zone, and you have a clear path move. So we could see back and forth volatility unless we break below these lows, this 3700 area with some momentum. Then I'm watching for a retest and a potential rollover play. And my next major harmonic isn't until 36.46. If you want the minor levels, you'd go from here to the morning lows. And so these would be intraday trading levels only, pretty much. But we'd have 36.76, 36.58, and those are the minor ones. Upside, we have this clear path, but there's a lot of stopping points on the other side. Where am I? This is just really challenging. The next major level I'm going to is about 37.59 then on a rally. That's this little support here, the 12.5% harmonic and the declining 4 hour rotation zone. So, 4 hour cycles, not to the bottom. Daily cycle's still trying to turn up, but the weekly cycle's still turning down. And remember, weekly trumps daily. And the big thing is going to be that option expiration tomorrow. Uh-oh, Fuzzy Mike back. Oh, well, oh, no, Fuzzy Mike. Wait, we can't have Fuzzy Mike. No, not Fuzzy Mike. Hold on. Sorry about that. Why? I switched cameras. Hold on. Hold on. What is going on? It's just going to be one of those days. It's going to be one of those. There we go. Thank you for pointing that out. There we go. Hopefully that's a little better. We can deal with that. Thank you for pointing out Fuzzy Mike. Good morning, Anissa. You're turning into AI. Maybe I'm just a simulation. Maybe I am just a simulation in the world of AI. What worries me, people, CNBS are saying the Fed did the right thing and the market can go higher, yet go to all-time highs with stimulus, QE, PPP, yet all of it gone, QE raising rates. Long-term, yes, long-term is still down. There's nothing changed with that. We just have to be prepared if we get these bounce plays. But long-term is still down. I think there'll be a lot of pressure off once we get out of this. I got to see how it goes once this option expiration is and where the new gamma pressure points are after Friday. That's going to be really interesting. NASDAQ, we also have the same thing with the Dow. You do have this potential double for the longer term play, but I doubt that would trigger today. My first level, and watch again, the 1 hour rotation zone. In this case, the 12.5%. We're about 11,450 area. We break above there. Really right in here. Then I'm watching the other side of the rotation zone, about 11,586. Remember, if you're fine-tuning stuff also on a more substantial rally, you can watch the 50 to the 62 of these retracement levels and update that if we do push lower in the open. Okay. For the lower plays, the major area is this 11,000 to about 11,024. The minor levels, again, you use your reverse harmonics, would be 11,166, 11,100 essentially. Dow, same story, breaking below that best fit line. Still the double is there. On the shorter term, same thing. Everything's trading in such lockstep. The one I'm really watching on this one, hold on, I forgot to update that level. What I'm watching on this level is 30,235. We break above there, then I'm going to really be keying off of this 12.5% harmonic, 11,440, 450 area with the rotation zone. If we push lower in this one, major cluster area about 29,895, 29.9, and then 29,804. So that's pretty much key. Let's just check out. Russell does have the double still. Have to update to the conservative targets. And the breakdown targets for the Russell. About 1675 would be minor, and then major 1666. DAX rolling over substantially out of the rotation zone. So we returned to the daily rotation zone and then coming back down to the next harmonic. With that, next major target is 12,854. And this just broke this pretty significant support. So I'm still expecting this. We still have a gap left behind right here. Interesting enough, right at the harmonic. So that's my next major play for the DAX. Crude, first and second targets have come down and are hit. Don't have a super strong bottoming pattern yet. I'm watching to see for a retest, and if we put in some stronger bottoming pattern right there with crude, but we did get the downward move. Going to be watching. Again, when you get a candle like this, I watch for a retracement of it to see if that 50 to 62.5 area holds. Natty Gas still bouncing back after hitting that second double target, but no great play in there yet. This major breakdown area at 812 is going to be very key. Gold was earlier trying to put in a rally, now back down a bit. Come on, don't seize up on me yet. We had the little gap play, filling the gap play. This double is still in play, so those are still the targets I'm using. 1862, 1867, 1872. Notes, tons of volatility, but we do have a potential double bottom. This was very volatile. Even this morning, these moves are just insane for the notes, but we do have a little potential double bottom. It is against the daily rotation zone, so it's slightly lower probability, but that would need a close above 115.28. Then we're hitting 116.24, 117.06, 117.13. Dollar index, again, triggered just barely. Did this? I don't remember. Sorry, no, it didn't. 55, hold on. 55 right there at the close. This is now it's confirmed. This is definitely a trigger. Going to watch for that pretty substantial pullback. 104.95, 103.85, 103.63. VIX, that is a pretty volatile bar. So if this really starts trading back above about 32.25, going to really watch for the downside pressure. We get below about 30.50, then we could either be choppy to a slight rally. Here's what I was talking about. Here we go. Oh boy, this moved up since I was on here last. Looking at it. This is pretty substantial. If they lose this peg, we could see some major yen moves. So this is interesting. If we don't see this slam back down and they try to get that peg in line, that it could get very interesting for the markets. And you see with this, the yen starting to roll over hard. So this, will keep an eye on this, because if they can't get this peg in line and have to abandon the peg, we could see a lot of market volatility and a lot of market potential shakeup. Also, what I talked about with the Swissy, here's their move off their central bank hiking 50% or 50 basis point, not 50%. But they still have negative 0.25% rates. If we trigger this massive double top, you could see some interesting stuff go on with the Swissy and them dumping some assets. By the way, Bitcoin back down. It got that little bounce with the risk assets today, but if we really start rolling over, this could get very interesting also for Bitcoin. Tesla down again. We hit that key area, though. If we don't get the gap fill play and the roll over, then I'm really watching for us to retest the lows back from the 25th of May. That's the only play I'm keeping an eye besides this gap play. If we get the gap play, if things stabilize into the open. Let's take a look at the Qs. The Qs, 275.93, just still sitting at this harmonic, but the next would be 271.62 and 268.76. There'll probably be if it does stabilize, a minor gap play in here. That's all the only thing I'd be focused on to the upside, and on a stronger rally would be back to the 286.75 area, the breakdown zone, which was the stopping point yesterday. And then if we do roll over, keep in mind, and this is not going to get hit today, but the longer term, very key area, just keep in mind, is this 256, 257 area. Spiders, again, there's only thing is the potential gap play. We have to we hit all this harmonic cluster yesterday. So now with this pausing bar, we break down 364.73, and then our major cluster, even that if we really broke down 360.16, 358, which would be targeting that 3,600 area with the S&P futures. This morning, good morning, George. First 4 hours after the FOMC is the fake out. Well, there's so much stuff going on. There is so much stuff, and keep in mind the Bank of Japan might have to do some emergency intervention. So we're just, it's what I've been talking about, tactile trading. What do you make of the ECB holding an emergency meeting just less than a week after their first policy meeting? They didn't even raise rates yet, and they're already freaking out about the effects of it. Yeah, I know. That's the problem. We're literally in a world that you raise rates, things break. There's been too much liquidity pumped in there. My take is the financial plumbing is not positioned itself for this possibility. So things are starting to break. And that's the big risk item. And if you have financial stuff break, we're going into a recession with this prints this morning. They're gonna, when the Atlanta Fed, remember you can sign up for their emails, but the Atlanta Fed, they do the preliminary estimates constantly with GDP. It's gonna come below. Remember I showed yesterday it was at 0. It's gonna be below 0. Does that mean it's gonna finalize there? Not necessarily, but it depends how much goes below 0. It's got some heavy lifting to do. Then we get the 2 negative prints potentially for GDP back-to-back quarters, which technically isn't the recession indicator, but a lot of people are still using that definition. So they're hiking into a recession. The financial plumbing isn't positioned for this. I mean, you have the Swiss with still negative rates with inflation. Now, they shocked the market by this is their first rate hike in 15 years. That should tell you something. But overall, my real concern is if stuff really unravels with the yen and they look at this, they're losing the peg. We could see some really interesting stuff. This is blowing. The yen is, if you want to put one thing on your chart, keep an eye on this. If you see it slam back down, there was some emergency intervention. But if this thing breaks, you could see massive moves in the yen. All right. So I'm just AI fuzzy mic bot. Tesla under 662. It's already retested at 87.5. I'm expecting it to retest the lows, Ken. It already retested at 87.5. I'm expecting it to retest. And if we have a substantial down move in the NASDAQ, we should break that 620 lows. Morning, John. The only way I'm really getting short term, because again, it's so hard right now with quad witching tomorrow, and now you're throwing these moves in there like with the yen. I mean, this is getting interesting. So it's It's very cautious trading. Now, if we did trigger some of these doubles that I pointed out, then I got to play short-term bullish to the potential upside. But again, it's you got to manage stops tightly. Tesla needs to go to 65. I have a target at 80. It's hard to be a buyer. There will be buying opportunities, but not long term. Again, long term rollover play. Long term, there's more carnage to be done. Unless we get a short term capitulation move. If we get a short term capitulation move sell off, we could get the bigger short term flush out move and then a little more substantial rally before the next down leg. Remember, what's the average decline of the S&P in a recession? When we're having when the markets drop and you have a recession that comes, your average decline is 37%. That's average. All right. So it could get worse. I mean, right now you're at roughly 23% again. Where does 37% take us? Just go off average. And I think it would get worse than I think we'd be worse than average. But where does 37 take us? Roughly, let's just go with 3,000. All right. So in a recession, your average decline in the S&P is 37%. That takes it roughly back to 3,000. I mean, and what's interesting then statistically, you get back below this, that takes you below the 62.5, and then we could really ripple down to test the COVID low area. So could this be well bigger? And I'm talking longer term. We'll probably revisit this end of the week or this weekend, but look, you get down to the statistic area, which could happen. That's near 47%. COVID lows would be 54. So even a 50% correction would be right in there with, which is feasible. There, that'll be a fun thing to noodle over this weekend. And I think something's going to break in the plumbing. Something's going to go bust. Bigger than, I'm not just talking crypto, which will, something's going to break. Some institution is very ill prepared for this. And that's why I think we could be closing in on, if this really breaks at 3,700, we could be closing in on a capitulation move. Am I the only one who sees the tweets from Burry? No. Well, I just didn't see this conversation. Yeah, we could easily see a retest. I just laid out the statistical probabilities. ARK needs to start getting redemptions before we're at a longer term bottom, like in people getting out of that. ARK will be under 1. Waka Waka. Wait, if it's under 1, what kind of box are you living in? All these new Tesla pairs here starting to feel like home. It's going to get interesting. Let's see. Yeah, never fall in love with any stock. Volatility leads to trading options. And I don't mean trading the options. I mean trading options because there's a lot of price action. But we've talked about that many times. Don't get married to any stock. That is a completely true statement, Daniel. All right? You don't want to get married to any position. And all these people, whether it be crypto or Tesla, that have everything in something, that's a recipe for disaster. Revlon bankrupt? Really? All right. Let's see. In stage 6, according to Ray Dalio, the worst is stage 6. We shall see. If we don't get a little move on at the open with the NASDAQ, And you always the people rushing with Tesla always try for that gap fill play. I'd be watching for the gap fill rollover. We'll see. Oh boy, you guys are super bearish. Waka, you're always outpacing to the downside. If we 90%. Oh boy. All right, guys. All right, everyone. Wow. Okay, just keep an eye. Again, if you want to put something on your chart to glance in at, keep an eye on this. This is massive. Look at this. This is absolutely massive. Keep an eye because this can break stuff. This can break stuff today. Keep an eye on it. With that, if there's something major going on, try to fix the camera issue too, but if there's something major on, I will come on at lunch, especially if we're really tanking. Then I'll definitely be here after hours. Let's just peek at the market open. Let's just peek. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. Okay, NASDAQ breaking. Retesting the lows. Let's see if they hold or that was the S&P. Sorry, here's the NASDAQ. Well, NASDAQ's a fair way off still. So I'm going to watch for possibly a little bounce and then the rollover move. I bet you we do retest the lows for stop hunting, though, at some point. With that, I'm wrapping it up. Everybody have a great trading day. If you don't have a trade, stay safe. Don't just throw around money to entertain yourself. I'll talk to everyone later. Bye for now.